Hey Trey, how's it going? This is Ryan with TrendLizard.com. I got your email. I'm going to take a look at a few stocks for you. These are good ones. We're going to take a look at Google, Gooogl, two O's in there if I said one too many, Riot, RIOT, Riot Blockchain, and then Coinbase, COIN. In that order, all ones that I think I've taken a look for you in the past and are definitely worthy of updating now. So let's start with Google here. Our data goes back to 2004, had a nice run to the upside, a very large ABC pullback, and off of that 2008 low has been in a large 5-wave advance that, in my estimation, is currently in the 4th wave of that move. So you have the first, second, all of this being one large 3rd wave advance, and then a larger 4th wave correction to offset the 2nd wave correction that happened here. Once you complete this larger 4th wave advance, the idea would be you'd get another large 5th wave up to the upside to complete a very large 5-wave advance. A Fibonacci target for this 4th wave pullback is shown here, about 68 to about 95, somewhere in that area before it's over. It has not reached that area yet, but I think there's a good chance that it will. So let's go ahead and zoom in. We're just going to take a look at this 5-wave advance. Provides a little more detail. You can look at it that way, or you can just say, okay, first, second, and then if you look at the move from here to here, basically there's only 2 substantial pullbacks really, and they're here and here. So that's kind of how we divide it, as one large 5-wave advance for that 3rd wave, and then again, a larger 4th wave. So now we're just going to zoom in on this action off the 2020 low. And here you can see a 5-wave move again with all the subdivisions that we have labeled. This 5th wave is pretty wimpy, but I think the reason that we have to go with this labeling is because of the pullback that's happened off of the 2021 high. Definitely a larger degree move, by far bigger than anything we've seen to the downside since this low was established back in 2020. So this looks like a larger correction, and again, that's how we have it fit here as a larger 4th wave correction. So again, just looking for a larger pullback. If this was just, this pullback here was just a retracement of this 5-wave up leg, it might find support in this yellow area. But again, the expectation is more for it to be a larger degree move to go into this yellow area here. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. Now, when I'm looking at Google and this pullback, I can find a couple different ways to label it. The good news is, if we look at action off of the high, looks like an ABC down leg at the very beginning of this pullback. So that's a good start. It tells us, we have to consider this a counter trend move just based on the action that happened right at the beginning. So this labeling here calls that wave A, wave B, and then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave C. Basically, this would put us 1/5 wave down away from being complete on this pullback. This is one way to label it. Here's another way. The other way would be that we've seen an A, a B, and a C to complete wave A, and now we're in a larger B wave recovery before we get that C wave decline. Now, we can pound our head on trying to figure out which way is correct. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. I think the only thing that matters is the clear counter trend nature of what we've seen off of May's low. We have this upside action, we have all this choppy action, we have a deep retracement of this up leg here, prices turning up again, so clearly this recovery is not over, so we can expect some higher prices in the near term, but there is just no objective way we could look at this action off of May's low and consider it the start of something more important. We have to consider it a counter trend move. Maybe it's a B wave again, maybe it's a 4th wave, we don't know. Again, it'll be determined as things hash out. Let's go ahead and zoom in on the recovery effort here. And this provides just a little more detail of why we think it's a counter trend move. You have all this back and forth. Again, it is retraced more than it should have if this was the start of something important. And then if you try to find a way that you could label it as maybe a truncated low, just reaching for straws. If we look at this decline in July, it's a 3-wave move. This can't really be an ending 5th wave if it's a 3-wave move. The only way it really fits is as part of the B wave, and then what we're seeing to the upside is probably a C wave here. So can head back to the highs, probably will at least head back to these highs that we've seen right around 120. Could head higher if it's a larger B wave, but it's something that's not predictable. When it's in a counter trend move like this, where it's not based on trendy 5-wave patterns, anything goes, and we can be sad about that because we don't trade like a large C wave. But it's just not predictable. There's no point in losing any sleep over that. What we can say is that if Google turns around and moves below 108.50, chances are the next down leg has begun. So I think higher in the near term, at least back to the recent highs. Let me see if I can find this chart here. Could be something bigger and a larger B wave recovery. But again, that's just not predictable. And the expectation has to be for another C wave down to happen before this larger correction completes. And maybe that's a testament to what's happening overall in the market. We will see. But again, I don't think a low is in. I think we will see lower prices, and we'll find out what this choppy action is. If it's a B wave or fourth wave, that will be determined. So let's move on now to Riot, R-I-O-T, Riot Blockchain. Oof. Yeah, no, this is not a fun way to look at it. This is a linear scale. Everything is, I think, 200 points here, and it shows the glory days back in 2006, 2007. Massive spike up, and then just gave it all back, and then some since then. There's obviously a better way to look at it, but I want to put this into perspective to really see the route that Riot has taken over time. So let's go to a linear scale, a logarithmic scale here. Looks a little bit different when you put it this way. Here's that gigantic move up into the 2007 high, and then the cleansing that has taken place since then. And this decline looks like a 5-wave move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside into that 2020 low. Had a recovery, larger recovery to be sure off of the 2020 low, but it's given a substantial portion of that back again, just kind of like it did on a larger time frame back here. Now, if this was a larger degree of recovery, which it certainly can be, you can talk about a retracement area up here. This is where a Fibonacci retracement of this down leg happens. Yeah, I'm not sure if it gets there. I mean, we're trading at $7 here. This is up in the 1,200 to 2,500 kind of range. It is substantially far away, but the potential exists at least. So let's drive in a little bit more. Let's take a look at this action off the 2020 low. We're going to try to label this a couple ways, just to kind of make a point here. If we tried to label that recovery off of the 2020 low as a trendy 5-wave move, and then we see the pullback that happens here, if we say, oh yeah, it's kind of a general 3-wave down move, all good and dandy until you realize that this pullback here actually retraced 95% so far of this big up leg here. So we can't just casually call this a 5-wave advance followed by an ABC pullback. If this pullback was just correcting this up leg here, which is what it would have to be doing if we were at a major low, should have found support way up here in this area. It didn't. It blew through there. I'm going to go back to a linear scale just to put that into perspective. Here's that strength in 2020, early 2021, and you can see how it just kept giving back, retraced way more than it should have if this was the start of a new trend. Doesn't fit, doesn't look right. So here's a better way in my view. I think we have to label this up leg off of the 2020 low as an ABC move, likely wave A. Everything to the downside since then, likely a larger B wave. Now the good news is the way this pullback started, it looks like a counter trend move off the get. Even if it has retraced so much, it can still just be a larger flat correction. So the potential then really that we would be playing with here with Riot is that we've got an A, a B, and then we get a C wave back towards that 2021 high. That is the ideal scenario. That is what you would be trading for. Nothing bigger on any larger term time frame. The trend is down. I mean, we can say what we want, but if we look at this action here, we have a 5-wave decline and then a recovery that's been retraced by 95%. There's nothing that points this guy higher on any larger time frame. So get back to my chart here. I think at the end of the day, this is a counter trend recovery. You can trade it certainly as it moves back here. That would be a fantastic move, but it's not a long-term holding based on these stats here. So let's go ahead and zoom in, and we're just going to take a look at this action here off of the 2022 low, and it provides some hope. One last thing on this chart. A move above 15 is going to look bullish. That's going to suggest that this entire down move is over. If I was doing it, especially with something that has been absolutely destroyed in the course of 2022, I think that would be my buy spot, above 15. I would be a little bit nervous to do it before then, given how fast this guy moves and how wrecked it's been over this time frame. But let's go ahead and zoom in on this action here. And here's the hope, because in July, we are seeing what could be trendy 5-wave movement. It looks very much like trendy 5-wave movement. First, second, third, fourth, maybe fourth is over. Maybe we get a larger fourth wave. Whatever the case may be, as long as Riot is trading above 550, this will have the potential to mark an end to that B wave pullback and the start of a C wave recovery. Ideally, what you would see is a 5-wave move to the upside, followed by a larger 3-wave pullback, and then as price turns higher again from there, that would be an excellent buying opportunity. Again, needs to stay above 550 if this is the start of that larger C wave advance. A move below there, all bets are off. So let's go ahead and look at Coinbase, COIN. This one's going to be fairly quick because there's not a lot to it and it's fairly straightforward. Basically, since its inception in 2021, this guy has largely trended lower. There's been some up spots, but in the end, those have all proven to be counter trend moves. You had some downside action here, ABC recovery, and then a breakdown off of the late 2021 high that is still in play. You're talking up, what was it, 375, currently at this point here, now trading at 63, and that's off the low it set back in May. Whatever the case may be, we've been getting trendy down legs, counter trend recoveries, trendy down legs, counter trend recoveries. Nothing going on that suggests that this guy is at a low, and certainly not this action off of May's low, and I'll show you why. If we zoom in on that action here, everything about this move is counter trend. If we look at the first up leg off of May's low, it's an ABC move. By definition, that's a counter trend move. Even if we tried to get fancy and call this a 5-wave move, it was largely completely retraced by this action to the downside here. It doesn't work. And then if you look at this action off of June's low, again, it's a 3-wave move to the upside. There's nothing happening trendy to the upside. All the trends are happening to the downside. We'll find out shortly if the next down leg to new lows has begun. You have this breakdown over the last couple weeks. If the next leg down is underway, price will stay above 16.9. That is the level to watch. If it moves above that level, it just means we're getting a larger counter trend recovery. Should get a new high out of it if that's the case. But again, like I said earlier with Google, if it's counter trend, it's just not predictable. Maybe there's a great move and we don't get to trade it. So what? If we can't predict it, we can't trade it. Fortunately, there are things that can be predicted. Those are trendy moves. That's why we stick with trendy moves when we're looking to trade. So that is it, Trey. I hope that is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions about this analysis. Anybody else who's watching this, if you want to learn more about Elliott Wave or see how this stuff works in real time, come visit us at TrendLizard.com. We do this stuff every day. We look at just about every major market on the planet to make sure you know where everything's going and where the opportunities lie. Have a great week. We will talk to you soon. Take care.